Bryan Houston here with Coach Marcus Gold of the Whitehouse Wildcats. Whitehouse coming off of a big 42-14 win over Jacksonville on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Coach, first of all, happy post-Thanksgiving. Hope your holiday went well. Obviously, it probably went very well considering how dominant you guys were against Jacksonville on Friday.
Yeah, it was great. The weather held up, and it was a good day for our kids. And it was kind of, with a 2 o'clock game, and it felt weird being done by 5:30. So it was nice to have a good Thanksgiving weekend and have some extra time to kind of refocus and get ready for a really good Texarkana team.
So you gave them the day off on Thanksgiving, is that correct?
I did, yes, sir.
So did you notice a little pep in the step on Friday?
Uh, well, we got them up here early, and like you always have a handful of 16 and 17-year-old kids that are coming in looking sleepy. So it was, I purposely did that so we could get them up here. We had breakfast for them. We had one of our parents fed them, and we went to a walkthrough, kind of got them moving around a little bit. Then we went back into our lecture hall library area over here and let them sit down, relax. You can get on computers, you can get on your phone, you can take that next hour and a half of sleep that you probably might have missed out on last night or whatever it was. And then we did a pregame meal and got them going. So it worked out well. And I think I had one kid, I was like, "You look a little sleepy." He's like, "I know." And then after he came back right before our pregame meal, he's like, "Oh, I needed that." I was like, "Yeah, I bet you did, boy." You give them an inch, they go a mile. You tell them, "Hey, we don't have to be here till 8:15 when they're usually there at school at 7:30. Oh, that means I can stay up till midnight." No, that doesn't mean that. It means you get an extra hour of sleep, not an extra hour to stay up. But it was good.
And I know from dealing with my own son, these kids would sleep 20 straight hours if he gave them a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about that game against Jacksonville because it was I'm sure you were concerned that your team bounce back and play well after the loss against Pine Tree and the disappointment of that loss. So how did you feel about the way things unfolded on Friday?
I thought they were good. That first series, they scored a touchdown on the third play of the game, so it was like, okay, here, it was more of a just a mental error. So there was no panic button push, and we marched down the field. I thought our offense got going very well, and I still felt like there was times where we might have missed a target or two throughout the game to where we could have scored a couple more touchdowns. So that's a good feeling knowing that you still felt like we left points off the scoreboard, and knowing that we still scored 42 points. It feels good that they only scored 14 points when one was a kind of a busted error at the beginning of the play, and then another one was kind of right there down at the end of the fourth quarter. So our kids did a great job. They were up for the task. They focused on Jacksonville all week, and that's what got them back to kind of, I guess, normalcy and playing good in all three phases of the game. The only negative thing I would get back from the game is our kickoff. I think there was times on kickoff where we gave him a little bit too many yards and put them up for field position. But our defense, sudden change situation, went out there and stopped them on those two drives. So it was good in all phases of the game, and our kids have got that confidence back in them. And I think that's what you want. You know how good the kids can play. And even if the game was a close game, you just want them to build that confidence back that they had before. And I think they have that.
I would guess with the kind of score and as lopsided as the game was, that they probably are feeling real confident right now.
Yes, sir. I mean, we're back to where we're not overconfident. I thought, kids felt it's a different feeling than the week we played Pine Tree. And where I told you before, we can't play to not lose. We got to play to win the game. And in the game that's coming up like this, and I know you're going to talk about it here in a second, that here's what I've told the kids is we have nothing to lose this game. We're a third seed. We're not going to be anything less than a third seed. We're an 8-1 football team. We have so much to gain. So to me, that's a formula for a dangerous football team, and I'm letting them know that, and they can be dangerous at times. So I think they're excited about it.
Want to talk specifically about different players that impressed you in the ball game against Jacksonville?
Well, we did great in the secondary. I thought we changed some covers up and had a chance to get some hands on some football. So I thought Jaden Brennan's one I talked about a lot throughout the year. He's got such an athletic, long body. He can cover so much ground. He came up with another interception. So Dominic Rayford and Sam Cook did good right there on edges, kind of playing more of a cover two cloud coverage and took away a lot of those routes that you didn't notice that they couldn't throw the ball to. So they're looking to throw some of those out routes. We're covering them, and it becomes a coverage sack. And that's kudos to Marshall Johnson and Chris Roberts getting into the backfield multiple times. Our linebackers, how I'm mentioning them last right now out of the defense is shocking to me because Jack Clark and Braden Miller were all over the field. Another touchdown for Braden Miller right there at the end. And he twisted his ankle in the first quarter, Braden Matthews, and he played throughout the entire game with a twisted ankle. Didn't even know that till Saturday morning. But he was a little gimpy around on Sunday and Monday, but he's back and practicing. He'll be full go for Friday. On the offensive side of the ball, Joey Conflitti scored 5 touchdowns, I think 2 rushing, 3 throughout the air. D and Therian came down with some good catches throughout the game. Offensive line blocked well, and Matthew Gooden finally rushed over 1,000 yards for the year. So good for that little guy. I bet he didn't see that in his near future when he was on JV as a sophomore here, who just transferred from Marshall, and I'm happy for that kid.
Fantastic. Well, it was a complete victory for your team in all 3 phases. So congratulations. That puts you at 8-1, 5-1 in district now. And now comes the showdown. On December 4th, Friday night, you travel to Texarkana. It's a long drive. It's a good 2+ hours. And you meet a Texas High team that when you look at it on paper, every time I look at it, it's a completely lopsided ball game. They haven't been challenged very much this year until this past weekend when they played Nacogdoches and beat them 21-17 at Dragon Stadium. So tell me what you know about that game. I guess after your ball game was over, did you guys just race to Nacogdoches to take a look at the Dragons, or how did you cover that?
We didn't. We, now that it's live stream, you get an opportunity to kind of watch it on the live stream and watch that game and kind of pick that apart on how they did. I know the weather was different. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a situation where I don't think Texas High didn't play up for the game. They play with some motivation out there. They have some fiery kids. They always looked amped up, ready to go. I think Nacogdoches played a good ball game. I think they had a good game plan, and that's Nacogdoches team that's very good. I mean, mind you, they're headed to possibly play in the playoffs this year. Playing this last game, we're down against them 14-17 going into the fourth quarter. Nacogdoches is every bit as good in the secondary as anybody around. So it was a good ball game. Good to see that somebody could contest them, but Texas High, good for them. What people don't look at is, Texas High played so bad. Well, they still came out with a victory at Nacogdoches in the rain. All the games Texas High traveled to is pretty far, so that has to be pretty tough on those kids. So it'll be tough going to their house and playing them, a 9-0 football team. You're only as good as your record in, and that's a pretty good record. But we want to be the one. We want to be the one to give them a challenge. We've played in some really close ball games over the years. Our kids are used to it. They want to be in a tight ball game where it matters. They're excited about it. They're confident. We played some teams this year who have the athletic ability of anybody across the state of Texas. When you look at our district, but the teams that are ranked in the top 15 in the state, the district we're going to play immediately in the playoffs is all those teams are ranked in the top 15 in the state of Texas. They've been challenged all year by really good athletes, and I think we'll be fine and be up for the challenge. And it's going to come down to making plays, and that's what it's going to come down to is kids being in the right position. But you're going to have to give that extra effort, and there's going to be times where you're just going to have to make that play. It can't be drop passes. It can't be overthrown balls. It can't be a dropped interception that could have led to a turnover or a fumble here or there. We're going to have to come up and make those plays. And I'm not saying this has to be the greatest game we've ever had to play. I don't think it's a miracle on 34th Street for us to beat Texas High this week. I don't believe that. I think if we play just as good as we've done at some times of the year, examples of like Royce City, Marshall, besides that 3-minute stint where they scored a couple touchdowns, there's times this year where we played really, really well. And if we play like that, we're going to have a chance in this ball game.
Who are the kids that you see on the Texas High team that have really caught your eye, really popped off the film?
Who doesn't jump off the field and catch your eye? The quarterback, he throws a better ball over the middle that I've seen probably in a lot of the quarterbacks I've watched this year. Number 5 is probably one of the, if not the best receiver in our district, Sellers, who I believe moved from quarterback to receiver. Number 2, number 13, they're horses in the backfield when they get the ball. And then their offensive line averages 330 pounds across the board. Defensive line has 2 Oklahoma commits. They got good linebackers, good secondary, but we can brag about who they are all day. We brag about that every single week. But the important thing is, who are we? What kind of team are we? And we're a scrappy team. We're a fighting team. We're led by seniors on the offense and defensive line. We're scrappy young kids who are athletic and have a really bright future here. And we're a dangerous team because, again, there's nothing to lose and everything to gain in this football game.
You talked about that at the beginning. Talk a little bit about the specifics, the things that you could gain if you were able to win this ball game on Friday night.
Well, you win a ball game depending on how many points. One, it's a share at the district title, and who doesn't want one of those gold ball trophies in the field house? You have an opportunity to go there and really it's a really make a statement across the state of Texas in a game like this that really not that Whitehouse isn't on the map, because they are, but just to continue to make noise and see a future with some of our young kids to catch those glimpses of success. You also have an opportunity to be a second seed, have a home field advantage in the playoffs. You have an opportunity, depending on if you won by a multitude of points, you could be a first seed in the district. So there's so much to gain right there that we don't want to pass up the opportunity, and that's the word of the week is opportunities. Opportunities aren't always going to be there. There's not always going to be a season like this to where you're going into the last game with, hey man, this is we can really hang it all out there, and I think we're going to try to do that.
What's your greatest concern this week?
Greatest concern? Well, good question.
Thank you.
I think you don't want to be down early in a game like this. I think we want to be into the game. I think we want to try to compete with them in that first half. For the most part, be up or tied, and really being going into half and feeling like going into the second, third quarter that we still have some tricks up our sleeves. We feel good about the game plan that we put together so far. There's not a multitude of adjustments that we have to make, and we're not down. We're in the football game, and I think that's where those kids can possibly see that light at the end of the tunnel. And start believing in what we're saying and believing in themselves. And that's another example of what the word dub means is, do you believe? And I think if they can have some early success, they can start believing going into that second half.
Well, Coach, we're excited about the ball game. Looking forward to it. The opportunity to play in the 10th game for a district championship or a piece of it, and all that's on the line. It just couldn't set up better for this season. And again, the amazing thing is to never have an interruption in this season up to this point with all the craziness that's been going on in 2020. It's been a pretty magical year other than the Pine Tree game.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we're going to shoot our best shot. We got all our kids healthy, and we're just going to go out there and have fun. It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a great facility, place to play. And that's what I told the kids. If I told you that there's not distractions around of all the great things that Texas High brings to the table, I'd be lying to you. There's going to be great things, but just live in the moment, go out there and play, and don't fear failure, and go have some fun, because everything's worked out for us up until this point. We're healthy, and you can't ask for more than that. So let's enjoy it.
Well, rock and roll, Coach. Good luck to you this Friday night. Good luck to the Wildcats. It's been a great year up to this point, and I know it's going to be fun Friday night too. So best of luck to you, and we look forward to the game.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate all you do, sir.
Thank you, sir.